The most difficult moment, I'll be honest, was the first race. To put it into a bit of context, the year before, we led the World Championship, went into the last round. I was leading the World Championship and actually ran out of fuel in the last special test. Lost the World Championship, and I honestly was distraught. Like, it wasn't even just the fact that, you know, I'd lost the World Championship or I'd lost another number. Felt like someone had ripped it out of me, do you know what I mean? Because I literally was 2 minutes away from winning the World Championship. And it killed me. Like, all winter, I couldn't stop thinking about it. It killed me.
With 3 test victories in a row, and in the final cross test for good measure.
Last season, the most difficult moment, it was just before the first race. I make one jump and I hurt my back. And I was 1 month off of the bike. You need rest. You need to be in the sofa. You cannot even go to the gym or cycling. Then you see the other riders riding. At that point, I say, okay, I don't look Instagram, I don't look social media. The first half season, it was hard for me because I don't find that the place to be. It was difficult that time.
I put such a pressure on myself just to put it right, do you know what I mean? Just be like, I should have won that championship last year. Honestly, I was training so hard before that race, you know, every time I went cycling or in the gym or anything, bro, you believe me, I was thinking about that moment.
I mean, everyone goes through them. You know, there's so many variables between, you know, a rider, the emotions you go through in a season of racing, and that can be from, you know, winning by a minute or winning by a second to losing by a second, even though you feel like you deserve the win on that day. So balancing out that act can take its toll over a season also.
For me, enduro is like freedom. When you are riding in a race, you are in the mountain alone, you and your bike, and you have incredible landscapes, and it means freedom. Yeah.
And you have a big contact with the nature. you feel free, you get some feelings that it's difficult to find in some other sport.
Enduro for me is a sport of passion.
And so a lot of people, it's struggle to understand it, but when they come and see it, they understand, exactly why we're so passionate about it. So, yeah, it's like if you ask any riders, it's a passion, not a sport. It's gnarly, let me tell you. It's not for the faint-hearted, so.
I call the Enduro the mother of all disciplines, because the Enduro is the oldest discipline we have in motorcycling sport. The Enduro gave birth to the motocross in the 60s. Then there was another child, was the trial in the 90s. Enduro remained the old mother, and now the Enduro is coming back with much more modernity, with much more attractiveness for the fans.
Our sport is people's sport. Enduro, it is people's motorsport. It is true. It is the one that the people loves, because it's the one that the people can ride, it's the one that people can see free, when people can see the paddock. And it's the only motorsport, it's the only discipline in motorsport in the world that is like that.
You have to have a skill set so broad that you never get bored of learning it. For me, Enduro is one of the most challenging ways that you can race a motorcycle and do it to its full potential.
It is possible that a pilot with international license comes and rides against Garcia or Verona or Freeman. How is that possible? When you go to MotoGP, I cannot put my bike together with Miguel Oliveira or Rossi.
We only have to go back like 15 years ago or something, and there was a lot of guys winning world titles on bikes that were very subpar. You can say a real lot of Enduro comes back to the rider.
Enduro is special, why? Because the Enduro is the most complete of the disciplines. A rider that wins in Enduro is a complete rider. Must be very strong, not only quick, but he's someone who knows how to deal with the motorcycle. Very few of the riders know the motorcycle like the Enduro riders.
To be a world-class Enduro rider, you need to be, technically proficient, fast.
Also good mechanic, because if you have a problem on the bike, you have to solve it by yourself.
Rider and machine, rider has to look after the machine, so there needs to be a high level of mechanical sympathy. You've got to try to avoid damaging the bike. Some people would joke that Enduro riders are kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. An Enduro rider very much needs, needs a very rounded skill set.
You need to be good in many things. You need to be good in motocross. You need to be good at extreme. You need to be good in super enduro. You need to be good in the cross tests. You need to be good inside the forest. We can't focus just in one thing. We have to training all the sports to be fast everywhere.
You need to be so mentally strong and just hard, just be able to, just to do 7 hours riding for one is crazy if you think about it. But we'll do 6 hours, on transfers and stuff, just using as little energy as possible, just, riding smooth, trying to look after your bikes, not have any mistakes and stuff like that. And then obviously we've got a cross test, enduro test and an extreme test, and that is 110% effort, everything you've got. You go so deep into your energy reserves and whatever you've got. Even when you're tired, just put that in the back of your mind, and you just gotta get on with it.
The difficult thing is when the things goes a little bit wrong. There you need to be strong on the head, change like the mentality, be positive, and say, yeah, come on, next one I will be up there. That days you need to be really strong mentally.
Honestly, during the race day, the emotions are the key of the day.
The mind has a big part on the result. You have to control, but not too much. You don't have to think a lot, because if you think a lot, your mind is not thinking about riding. Sometimes it's better to don't think and go.
I think the main difference is just mental strength. And I think, like, if you look at the World Championship right now, you know, from first down to 20th, you know, in terms of like pure ability and technique on the bike, there's not a massive difference.
The skills, more or less, everyone of the top 10 guys have the good skills. But at one point, for me, the mental side makes the difference.
Yeah, you need to be, you know, pretty tough, because 7 hours on a bike, you know, Saturday, 7 hours on a bike Sunday, is pretty challenging. Riders, generally speaking, they come from motocross, and some of them sink and some of them swim, you know, and arguably some of the riders that sink on paper are the best riders, you know, but it's a different dynamic, you know. There is no free practice, time practice, qualifying, you know, and then race one. It's, you can walk the special stages and then you got to get on and be fast.
We have Wednesday, Thursday and Friday to walk the tests and to remember perfect, because on Saturday we go directly to the test with time and we need to be fast there.
And some people can't do that instant sprint over terrain that they've never seen before, you know, and ultimately that is the skill of enduro.
Imagine in the forest, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, with trees, roots, stones. We remember everything.
The riders that win and win consistently are the ones that have more of like a broad, you know, scale to their riding, and you know they're the most complete rider. That's what enduro is all about, is like finding the most complete rider.
Enduro was basically to make people understand easier. It's more or less like a rally race.
You know, it's like it's a sport really like no other. You know, it's a long distance sport, but also a sport where we race, you know, small stages.
So we have basically we have a long lap. Basically, that can be in the forest or depends the condition. And then we have the special test. We have three kinds of special tests. One we can call cross test, that basically is with the jumps, more fast, more similar to a motocross race. Then we have the enduro test. It can be in the forest, can be everywhere. And now, in the last, let's say, last 10 years, we did also the extreme test. Extreme test is the most difficult test, where more rocks, hard uphills, things like that, where the really good technical riders can show really his best.
You know, 3 special tests a lap, 3 laps, you have 9 special tests in a day. If you fall off on the second special test of the day, you can't change it. Let it go, you know, put that to the back of your mind and focus on being the best you can on the next special test. You know, when you're playing golf, you know, if you make a complete mess of one hole, If you don't put that completely out of your mind, that will affect the rest of your game and you're never going to perform as you can perform.
When you do something wrong, sometimes my role or the follow rider role is to help also the rider to don't lose the concentration. Okay, you did a mistake, stay focused on the race, because it can happen the rider after a big mistake go a little bit down with the head.
For me, the right is because after 10 bikes on the left was more bad. I don't let you pass there because there was not a clean line. After the bike pass, the where you pass was good.
That little mistake, you know, became 2 mistakes in the next special test, and before they know it, they're 20 seconds away from the leader, they push even harder, they make another mistake.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, at the end of the day, with experience as well, you know, you understand that once you've made a mistake, that mistake's made, you can't go back and change it. So you may as well just move on and make sure you don't do it again, you know? So when you know, if you crash or something like that, or you know, something happens with the bike or whatever, you know, you just put that in the back of your mind and just be like, right, that's happened.
I did the mistake, the race is gone. No, it's not gone. You have to come up, recover, and start again.
And some riders are very good at it, some riders aren't, and that's ultimately what makes it exciting, because you don't know what's going to happen until you get to the end of the day.
All the other sport, 90% of the sport, you go against someone else. You know, you challenge, you're racing and challenge against someone else. But here you are alone.
We don't race each other, realistically, we race the clock. And you know, let's be fair, the fastest man will win at the end of the day. It doesn't matter, you know, who's most aggressive, who's, you know, the most smooth, or who's got the best line choice, for example. Whoever's the fastest from clock to clock will win, and it's pretty simple.
It's rider and machine against the elements and the stopwatch to the finish.
You're racing against yourself, against the time, and not against the others.
And if you crash in one test and you lose 5 seconds, it's a lot.
The top riders, they were always fighting against the time.
We are like in every test fighting for 1 second, 2 seconds.
There's so many variables, and we have an hour of stage time that you can get that time back, you know.
You have to push 100% from the first to the last test.
We always try to find the limit.
And pushing at the 100% all day long is so dangerous. That's why for me sometimes, or like at the beginning of the year, so many riders get hurt. Because we were pretty much everyone at the limit.
What is surprising me is that after a couple of hours, the gap between the riders is maybe less than 1 second.
7 hours on a bike.
Yeah.
Sometimes the gap between 1 and 2, it's 1 second, 2 seconds.
Even for 0.01, it happened more often than what we can imagine.
I tell you now, I love the competition. Like I'm not in it for money. I'll tell you now, I'm in it for that feeling. I tell you, is so sick. I thought, when I was coming up and getting, faster and better, I thought I always wanted to be like world champion. I thought that was like my dream, and I remember the day I won, it wasn't like a sense of like satisfaction, do you know what I mean? So the morning after I woke up and I was like, what's next, do you know what I mean? I was like, right, that's done, but what now? And then I was like, right, maybe it's another world championship. So I won another world championship the year after. And I remember the same thing the day after. I was like, so what now, sort of thing, But I can sit here now after 7, and I'm just like, it wasn't like winning a world championship. I just wanted to be the best that I thought I could be.
They kind of look for reasons why they need to beat somebody else. They almost create these not false rivalries. But at the end of the day, it's a given. Everybody wants to beat everybody else. Whatever that reason is, who cares? Don't give me 10 reasons why you want to beat them. If you're here, you should be trying to win.
I'm still that annoying little kid chomping at the heels at the moment at the back of the picture, but don't sleep too much. But I think, what I have from the raw speed perspective, and I think I have what it takes to be an EnduroGP world champion.
I think this year it will be really interesting racing for sure. That gives me motivation. I have one thing here that now I want to take the bike and start a race.
I say me, I think Garcia, Freeman, and I will say Olcom.
Brad Freeman, reigning champ, he's been on top of his game for the last 3 or 4 years in EnduroGP, and he's probably the competitor that I put right at the top of the food chain. You're in a battle with him and you're in, let's go. There's no playing, and he won't give you an inch, that's for sure.
The next guy's coming up, Will's going to be there. I wonder if he'd say himself. I don't think he would, because he's pretty humble. Andrea's going to be there, Verona, he's quick.
And then Joseph Garcia and Andrea Verona over there on the Austrian machines, two very hungry competitors, and they don't let a day go past without thinking about holding that trophy up. So
we all know that he will fight for the title this year.
Somebody told me, in 5 years you are fighting for EnduroGP. Is it true or not? I was not expecting this, but in the reality, I'm maybe good,
We are in the World Championship, so we are the best riders in the world, so the racing is tight.
There's the top 5 in the championship right now that are sort of another level compared to all the others, And I think them 5 riders have all got the same mentality that they're all there to win, We're not there to play about and be friends, we're there to win.
Rivalry exists always in the sport.
With Garcia Verona there is a rivalry, but it's a sane rivalry.
Obviously, during the race we were not talking each other, hey, I pass inside in that corner.
When the helmet goes on, it's business.
I think enduro is a lot of mental game.
Same brand, same team, same tent, you cannot be friends.
We work in the same level for both riders. We don't have preference for between one and on the other.
He, I think, needs to hate me to beat me.
That is the first rule of racing, your teammate has to be behind you,
The guy can beat me, it's the personality. I just don't like the guy, and that's that.
I know exactly why the relationship doesn't work. I can tell you off the record, but I don't think that's something that needs to be in the public domain.
That's enough for me.